All right, everyone, let's jump right in. Today, we're tackling a topic that's super important for your exams, data communication modes. Basically, we're going to figure out how all our gadgets, our phones, TVs, you name it, actually talk to each other. So let's get to it and see how this all works.
So just think about this for a second. When you're on a phone call, you can talk, they can talk, you can even talk over each other, right? It's a real conversation. But then you're watching TV, and it's just sending stuff at you. You can't talk back. Why is that? Well, the answer to that question is exactly what we're covering today, and it's the key to really nailing this topic.
The secret to all of this is in the basics of data flow. This is our first step, and once you get this, you'll start to see how all our technology communicates.
Okay, first things first, let's get a key definition down. When we say data communication, what are we even talking about? Well, it's just the fancy term for sending and receiving information between devices. This is one of those definitions you've got to have locked in for your exams. It's the what we're doing before we get into the how. Now, this little chart here is basically our roadmap for today. You can see that data communication isn't just one thing, it splits into a couple of paths. We've got one-way communication, which is called simplex, and then we have two-way communication called duplex, and that one even splits into two more types. We're going to walk through each one step by step. Let's start with the easiest one, which is called simplex mode. And trust me, the best way to think about this is to just picture a one-way street for data.
So in simplex mode, the information flow is strictly one way. That means it can only go from a sender or a transmitter to a receiver. That's it. Look at the diagram, the data flows in one direction and there is absolutely no way for it to go back. No return traffic allowed.
Seriously, this one-way street analogy is going to be your best friend for your exams. If a question about simplex pops up, just picture cars moving down a street with no way to turn around. That image will make the concept stick in your head, for sure. So where do we actually see this? Oh, it's all around us. Your car radio, the TV in your living room, even a newspaper. They all just send information to you. You're the receiver. You can listen, you can watch, you can read, but you can't send a message back through that same channel. You can't talk back to a TV broadcast, right?
Okay, so simplex is a one-way deal. But what if we actually need to send data in both directions? Well, that brings us to our next mode, half duplex. It allows for two-way communication, but there's a pretty important rule.
So here's the crucial point. With half duplex, devices can both send and receive, but, and this is the big but, not at the same time. They have to take turns. The best way to picture this is like a really narrow bridge that's only wide enough for one car. A car has to go across, and then it has to wait until the bridge is totally clear before a car from the other side can start crossing.
And the classic, perfect example of this is a walkie-talkie. It's exactly how they work. When one person holds down the button to talk, the other person has to listen. You literally can't both talk at once. That's why you always hear them say over in movies, right? That's the signal that they're done talking, and the line is free for the other person to reply. That's half duplex right there. So we've had a one-way street and a narrow one-lane bridge. Now, let's move on to the super efficient two-lane highway of data communication. This is full duplex, and this is what allows for a true, natural conversation. Full duplex is the mode we're all most familiar with in our daily lives. Here, data can flow in both directions simultaneously. There's no waiting, no taking turns. It's just like a two-lane highway where traffic can move freely in both directions at the exact same time.
And this brings us right back to our very first question. Your mobile phone is a perfect example of a full duplex device. It's the whole reason why you can talk and listen at the same time, why you can interrupt each other and have a normal, real-time chat. It's that simultaneous two-way flow that makes it completely different from a walkie-talkie or a TV.
All right, let's bring this all home. This next bit is your ultimate recap to make sure you have everything you need to absolutely ace your exam on this topic. So pay close attention here.
Okay, this table right here, this is your golden ticket. It lays everything out perfectly. Let's run through it. For direction, simplex is the odd one out. It's only one way. The other two are bidirectional. The key difference is the timing. Half duplex is one at a time, but full duplex is at the same time. And those analogies, one-way street, one-lane bridge, two-lane highway, just tie it all together with the device examples. You should probably screenshot this or write it down. This is your study guide on one slide.
So, if you only remember one thing from all of this, let it be this. The difference between simplex, half duplex, and full duplex, it all comes down to two simple things: the direction of the data and the timing of when it can flow. That is it.
And here's a super quick memory trick for you, right before your exam. Just remember the traffic analogies. Simplex is a one-way street. Half duplex is a one-lane bridge where you have to take turns. And full duplex is a big two-lane highway where everyone can go at the same time. It really is that simple.
And I'll leave you with a final thought to chew on. Look around you. Think about your computer mouse, your printer, maybe even a baby monitor. Based on what we've just learned, which mode of communication do you think each one of those uses? Applying this knowledge is really the best way to make it stick. Good luck!
All right, let's dive in. Today, we're going to get to the bottom of something we use every single second: communication media. We're going to figure out exactly how all our gadgets talk to each other. So let's get started.
Seriously, have you ever stopped to think about that? You tap a button on your phone and boom, a video from the other side of the world starts playing. It feels like total magic, right? Well, it's not magic, and it all comes down to what we're about to break down.
Okay, so here's our first big important definition. This is the foundation for everything. Communication media is just the path that data takes to get from one device to another. Now, you might also hear it called transmission media. Don't let that throw you off. They mean the exact same thing. Definitely one for the revision notes. So here's the cool part. This whole complicated sounding topic really just boils down to two main categories. That's it, just two. You've got guided media and you've got unguided media. If you can get your head around these two, you've basically mastered this whole topic.
Let's kick things off with our first category, guided media. The absolute best way to picture this is to think of it like a physical highway built just for data to zoom along.
Okay, the most important word on this slide, and probably in this whole section, is physical. Guided media needs actual physical wires or cables to send signals. That's why we also call it a wired connection. Think about that Ethernet cable you might plug into a computer or a gaming console. That's guided media.
And these data highways come in a few different shapes and sizes. You've got twisted pair cables, coaxial cables, like the one that screws into the back of your TV, and of course, the super fast fiber optic cables. Each one is its own dedicated physical path that literally guides the data where it needs to go.
All right, let's switch gears. If guided media is a highway with clear lanes, then unguided media is like data just flying through the open air. No roads, no lanes, nothing physical at all.
And this, right here, is the biggest difference. You gotta remember this. Unguided media uses wireless signals that just travel right through the air. There is absolutely no physical wire connecting anything. None. Zero. It's all wireless.
And I guarantee you are using this stuff right now. Your home Wi-Fi? That's unguided media. The Bluetooth connecting your headphones? Yep, that too. Even the radio waves that bring music to your car. All perfect examples of unguided, wireless communication. It's everywhere.
Okay, time for the main event. We've seen both sides, now let's put them head to head. Putting them side by side like this is the best way to really lock in the differences, especially for your exams. Let's break this down. Is there a physical path? For guided, it's a big yes. For unguided, it's a hard no. What's the medium the data travels through? Well, for guided, it's cables. For unguided, it's just the air, using signals. And the examples just fall into place, right? Physical things like fiber and coax for guided, and all the wireless tech like Wi-Fi and Bluetooth for unguided. It really is that simple. Okay, deep breath. We've looked at the individual pieces, and we've compared them. So now let's zoom out and put the whole puzzle together so you can see the big picture.
And here it is. This mind map shows you the whole shebang. You can see communication media right at the top, and how it splits perfectly into our two main types. Over on one side, you've got guided, with all its physical wires, and on the other, unguided, which is all wireless, like Wi-Fi. Seriously, take a screenshot of this. It's perfect for revision.
All right, we're in the home stretch now. Let's do a super quick recap to make sure these key ideas are stuck in your brain for exam day. This is the stuff you absolutely need to know. So, let's nail these down one last time. Communication media, it's just the path for data. Guided media, remember the keyword physical. It's a wired connection. Unguided media, that's wireless, through the air. And the number one most important difference, it all boils down to one simple question. Is there a physical cable or not? That's it. And I know it can be a lot to remember, especially when you're in an exam. So I've got a super simple little memory trick that's going to help you get this right every single time.
Just remember this. Guided media needs a guide to show it where to go. And that guide is the physical wire. And unguided media is untethered. It's not tied to anything. It's free to travel through the air, so it's wireless. It's a silly little trick, but trust me, it works.
Because at the end of the day, that's what this is all about. Whether it's a physical wire or a signal flying through the air, the goal is always the same: connecting our devices so we can share stuff. But that does leave us with a pretty big question. How does the type of media change the speed of our data? We'll get into that next time.
Hey everyone, today we're going to dive into something super important but kind of invisible: the hidden architecture that powers our digital world. We're talking about guided media. So let's get right into the fascinating world of wired communication. We've all been there, right? You're in the middle of a super intense online game, or you're watching the best part of a movie and bam, it freezes. It is so frustrating. Well, guess what? Today, we're going to talk about the very technology that's designed to stop that from happening. So what is this unsung hero I'm talking about? It's called guided media, and you can pretty much think of it as the super reliable, traffic-free highway system just for your data. Let's dig in and break down exactly what that means. Okay, get your notebooks ready because this is a big one for your exams. The official definition is this: guided media is any communication that uses, well, wires or cables to move data around. It's also known as wired media. Make sure you remember both names. The absolute key thing to take away here is that it's a physical connection. All right, check out this diagram. It makes the whole thing super simple to understand. See, you've got a sender. That could be, a Netflix server streaming a movie. Then you've got a receiver. That's you on your computer. And what connects them? The wire. That's our guided media. It's that direct, physical path for the data to travel down. Pretty simple, right? Okay, so right about now, you're probably thinking, hold on, why are we even talking about cables? We have Wi-Fi. And you know what? That is an excellent question. But it turns out these physical connections, they have some pretty amazing superpowers that wireless just can't match. And here they are, the 3 big advantages, and you'll for sure want to remember these for exams. First up, cables are just plain faster. We're talking higher speeds. Second, they're safer. I mean, it's way harder for someone to snoop on a signal that's trapped inside a physical wire, right? And third, they are way more reliable. That means you get a much more stable connection. So, just to really hammer this home, what does that mean for you? Well, it means quicker downloads, much better protection for your personal data, and a connection that's not going to just drop out in the middle of an important video call. That physical link provides a kind of stability that, honestly, wireless just can't always guarantee. All right, let's meet our first type of guided media. I'm going to call this one the everyday hero because I guarantee you've seen it 1,000 times. In your school's computer lab or maybe plugged into the back of your router at home. It is the CAT6 cable. Yep, this is the one. The CAT6, which stands for Category 6 cable, is pretty much the go-to standard for what we call fast Ethernet. That's just the fancy name for the normal wired internet you find in homes and offices. See that little plastic clip on the end? That's what plugs right into your computer or your gaming console to give you that awesome, solid connection. Okay, this table right here is your exam cheat sheet for CAT6. The biggest, most important thing to know is what it's made of: copper wire. Why copper? Because it's an amazing conductor for the electrical signals that are actually carrying your data. So yeah, it's the standard for fast Ethernet, and you find it basically everywhere: homes, schools, offices. The one thing to burn into your brain, CAT6 is copper. Okay, time to level up and meet our second hero. Look, if CAT6 is your trusty, reliable family car, then optical fiber is a full-on superhero spaceship. We're talking about sending data at absolutely mind-blowing speeds. I mean, literally the speed of light. Whoa, this looks way different, doesn't it? Yeah, instead of a copper wire in the middle, optical fiber cables are made of these super thin strands of glass or plastic. And here's the really cool part, the magic, if you will. They don't use electricity at all. Nope, they use little pulses of light that literally bounce along the inside of that glass core. It's like a tiny, super fast tunnel just for light. So let's recap the key things you need to know about optical fiber. What's it made of? Glass or plastic? How does it work? It uses light. And what are its superpowers? Well, it is incredibly fast. It can carry huge amounts of data over really long distances. And, this is a big one, because it's using light, it is completely immune to electrical interference from things like power lines. That is a total game changer. All right, you've met our 2 cable heroes. Now it's time for the most important part, especially for your exams. It's time for the final showdown. Let's put CAT6 and optical fiber head-to-head, side-by-side, so the differences are absolutely crystal clear. This slide right here, this is your ultimate study guide. Seriously, look on the left, we've got CAT6. Remember, it's copper, and we use it for fast Ethernet in local spots like your home or school. Now look at the right, optical fiber. That's our glass or plastic cable that uses light, and its job, sending data over super long distances. See? They're just different tools for different jobs. So you need a quick and easy way to remember all this for the exam, right? Don't worry, I got you. For CAT6, just think of the 3 C's. It's a common, copper, cable. Easy. And for optical fiber, just remember that light is optimal for speed. Get it? O for optical, O for optimal, you won't forget that. Okay, let's do one last super fast recap. You ready? Number 1, guided media just means physical cables. Number 2, cables are faster, safer, and more reliable than wireless. Number 3, CAT6 is your everyday copper cable for places like home and the office. And number 4, optical fiber uses light for super fast data over long distances. Got all that? Awesome. And I want to leave you with a little something to chew on. Based on everything we just learned, especially about speed and distance, which of these 2 cables do you think powers the internet for your whole city, or even connects entire countries? CAT6 or optical fiber? And the really important question is, why? Give it some thought. Let's talk about a piece of tech you probably use every single day, but maybe don't even notice. We're talking about the unsung hero of your internet connection. You know that feeling, right? You're right in the middle of an epic online game, and bam, lag spike. Everything just freezes. Or you're trying to binge a show, and that little spinning circle just keeps spinning. It is the worst. Well, what if I told you the fix might be sitting right under your desk? And here it is. Meet the star of our show, the CAT6 cable. This little guy is the physical wire that hooks up your computer, your PlayStation, or your router to the internet. Think of it like a highway for your data. And trust me, the quality of that highway makes all the difference in the world. So what exactly is a CAT6 cable? Let's break down the basics. Nice and simple. Okay, first up, the name, CAT6. It's really just short for Category 6. That's it. It's a standard for network cables, and it's designed specifically for high performance. Its job is simple, but it's absolutely crucial. It creates that physical, wired link between your devices and your internet. Now, here's something really important to remember. CAT6 isn't the only cable out there. You might have seen these older ones called CAT5e, but the key takeaway here, especially for your exams, is that CAT6 is a major, major upgrade. It's built to be way faster and a whole lot more reliable. Okay, so we're saying it's faster, but how much faster are we talking about? Let's get into the actual numbers. So for a pretty long distance, say up to 100 meters, a CAT6 cable can easily give you speeds of 1 gigabit per second. To put that in perspective, that's 1,000 megabits per second. That is more than enough for pretty much any streaming, gaming, or homework you can throw at it. But hang on, because this is where it gets really wild. Over shorter distances, usually less than 55 meters, that same CAT6 cable can handle speeds up to a mind-blowing 10 gigabits per second. That is just insanely fast. So think of it this way. For a long road trip, you're cruising at a steady, fast speed of 1 gigabits per second. But for a short sprint, you can hit the nitro and blast off at 10 gigabits per second. It just goes to show, the closer your device is to the router, the crazier faster your connection can potentially be. But you know, speed isn't everything. Stability is just as important, right? So, what's the secret sauce inside this cable that makes it so reliable? Let's pop the hood and take a look. When you look inside a CAT6 cable, there are 2 key things going on. First, it's got much better insulation. And second, the pairs of wires inside are twisted together way more tightly than in older cables. Now, both of these things are designed to fight against something called signal interference. So what is this signal interference stuff? Well, you can think of it as electronic noise. You've got your Wi-Fi, your microwave, all the other power cords in your room. They all create these invisible waves that can totally mess with the data traveling through a table. It's like trying to have a clear conversation right next to a really loud construction site. That noise just messes up the signal, and that's what causes slowdowns and connection drops. And this is the result. Because of that better insulation and that tighter twist, the CAT6 cable acts like a shield. It protects the signal from all that outside noise. It basically turns a messy, choppy signal into a clean, smooth, and super stable one. And that, right there, is why CAT6 is so much more reliable. Okay, enough of the technical stuff. Let's talk about where you'll actually see these cables out there in the real world. Honestly, you'll find them everywhere. At home, they're perfect for plugging a gaming PC or smart TV straight into the router to get the absolute best speed. In offices and your school's computer lab, they're the backbone of the entire network. And in those giant data centers that run the internet, they're absolutely essential. Basically, anywhere a fast, strong, and stable connection is a must-have, you're gonna find CAT6 cables. All right, let's bring this all home. Time for your official exam cheat sheet. These are the key things you absolutely need to remember. So let's put CAT6 head-to-head with the older Cat5e. What's the bottom line? It comes down to two big advantages. One, CAT6 has much higher potential speeds, especially that 10 gigabits per second at short range. And two, it has better construction, which means a more stable, interference-free connection. In this matchup, CAT6 is the clear winner. This awesome graphic here breaks down everything into 4 super important areas. Let's just walk through them one last time to lock it in. Okay, quick recap. What is it? A network cable for the internet. Simple. How fast can it go? Up to a blazing 10 gigabits per second at short range. What's special about its design? It's got better insulation and tightly twisted wires to stop interference. And the final verdict? It gives you a connection that is fast, strong, and stable. That's all you need to know. So CAT6 is a fantastic upgrade that makes our digital lives way faster and way more reliable. But you know how technology is. It never stops improving. We went from Cat5e to Cat6 and got this huge leap in performance. So here's a question for you. What do you think the next big thing will be to make our internet even faster? Think about it. Thanks for watching.
Hey everyone, we're going to talk about something pretty incredible today, optical fiber technology. You know, it's that amazing tech that's kind of the secret backbone of our super fast digital world.
I mean, really think about it. How is it that you can be in the middle of an intense online game or binge watching your favorite show and it all just works without that annoying buffering circle? Well, the answer is what we're diving into right now.
So, first things first, what in the world is an optical fiber? Let's break it down to the basics. Okay, so what you're looking at is a special kind of high-speed communication cable. But here's the really cool part, and this is a key detail for your exams. It's not made of metal like a normal wire. It's actually made of super thin strands of glass or plastic. Some of them are as thin as a single human hair.
And here we go. This is your textbook exam-ready definition. If you remember one thing, remember this sentence. An optical fiber is a high-speed cable made of thin glass or plastic that sends data using light waves. That's it.
All right, so it uses light, but how does that even work? How can you take a movie or a video game or a text message and turn it into, well, a beam of light?
It's actually pretty genius. Your data, which starts out as an electrical signal, gets converted into tiny little pulses of light. These pulses then shoot down the glass fiber. And they don't get lost because they just keep bouncing off the inside walls of the cable, staying trapped inside. This is why we say there's minimal loss. The signal stays super strong and clear, even over huge distances.
So we know fiber is fast and efficient, but how does it really stack up against the older cables it replaced? Let's put them head to head.
Yeah, this image says it all, doesn't it? On one side, you've got the old-school copper cables, kind of like the slow and steady turtle. And on the other, you've got optical fiber, the lightning bolt. And it's not just about speed. It's way more powerful, meaning it carries more data, it's more reliable because other signals don't mess with it, and it's way more efficient, with almost no signal loss. It's a total upgrade.
Okay, this all sounds really cool in theory, but where do you actually find this stuff in the real world? Let's connect the dots.
This is the #1 place you'll see it in action. You know your internet service provider, or ISP? Well, they're the ones who use these huge networks of fiber optic cables to bring super fast internet right to your neighborhood and even right into your home. That little cable is basically a superhighway for all your data.
All right, time for another exam tip. These amazing cables have to plug into stuff, right? Well, they use special connectors, and knowing the different types is definitely a good idea.
Pay close attention here, because these acronyms pop up a lot. First, you have the ST connector. That stands for straight tip. Think of it as a twist and lock kind of plug. Then there's the SMA, which is a screw-mounted adapter. Just like the name says, it screws on for a really tight fit. And finally, you have the SC, or subscriber connector. This one's a simple push-pull connector, so you see it a lot in homes and offices. Just remember, ST, SMA, and SC.
Phew, okay. We have covered a lot. So before we wrap up, let's do a super fast revision to lock in all the important points. Ready?
Let's run through it. What's it made of? Thin strands of plastic or glass. How does it work? It sends data as light waves. What are the benefits? Minimal loss, high speed, powerful, reliable, efficient, the whole package. Where is it used? Mostly by ISPs to give us our internet. And those three connectors? ST, SMA, and SC. Got it? Awesome. So there you have it, the basics of optical fiber, the hidden tech that powers our world. And it leaves you with a pretty big question, right? Now that you know data can travel literally at the speed of light, what do you think comes next? What's the future going to look like? Thanks for watching. Hey everyone, let's talk about something that pretty much runs our entire digital lives, optical fiber. We're going to break it down fun fact style so you'll get what's happening behind your screen and be totally prepped for any exam questions.
Okay, we've all been there, right? You're in the middle of this epic online game, or maybe watching the best part of a movie, and the dreaded buffering wheel. It's the absolute worst. But what if I told you the fix for all that frustration is actually hiding in plain sight?
Just look at this. The solution? It's right here, inside this cable. And the part where all the magic happens? You won't believe this. It's literally thinner than a single strand of your hair. Yep, that's an optical fiber. You could call it the superhero of the internet. So what is this tiny marvel of engineering? And let's be real, maybe the most important question for you right now is, why does this pop up on exams so much? Well, that's what we're here for. We're going to break it all down. Let's dive in. All right, fact number 1. And this one is all about speed. And I don't just mean fast. I mean like light speed fast. So for years and years, we used these old, clunky copper wires. They sent information using electricity. And hey, it worked. But then optical fiber came along and completely changed the game. Because instead of electricity, it uses pure light.
So how does it actually use light? Well, it's all about something called light pulses. The best way to think about it is like this. Imagine a super tiny flashlight being flicked on and off like billions of times every single second. Each one of those flashes is a tiny piece of data. It's basically a super fast Morse code made of light, carrying everything, your texts, your games, your videos, all of it.
Okay, so how fast are we really talking? Get this, over 200,000 kilometers per second. To put that in perspective, that's fast enough to go around the entire planet more than 5 times in just 1 second. It's mind-boggling. And that is why fiber optic internet feels pretty much instant. Okay, exam tip time. This is super important. If you get a question asking for the main difference between optical fiber and those old copper cables, the answer is so simple. Just remember, light versus electricity. That's it. That's the key takeaway right there.
Okay, on to fact number 2. So we know it's incredibly fast, right? But what's maybe even crazier is just how much power is packed into something so unbelievably tiny.
I mean, just look at this. On one side, you've got a human hair. On the other, the optical fiber. It is so thin, but you absolutely cannot let its size fool you. That tiny little strand is a full-blown data superhighway.
Let's break that down a bit more. When it comes to size, yep, the fiber is thinner. But when we talk about data capacity, it's not even a competition. A strand of hair carries, well, 0 data. But a single optical fiber? We're talking terabytes of information. So what even is a terabyte? Well, to give you an idea, 1 terabyte can hold something like 250,000 photos, or maybe 250 movies, and a single fiber can carry many terabytes all at once. This isn't just about faster downloads for us today. This is the kind of power that's going to run the future. We're talking about things like totally lag-free virtual reality or entire smart cities all connected together.
All right, moving on to fact number 3. And this one's a little weird. When you think about what these fibers are made of, what material pops into your head? I can pretty much guarantee it's not this.
Yeah, that's right. They're made of glass.
But wait, hold on. Before you start picturing it shattering into a million pieces, this is not the same glass you have in your windows. Nope. This is a super pure, specially made kind of glass, or sometimes plastic, that is just shockingly flexible.
So, what makes it so special? Well, for starters, it's made of that really pure glass or plastic. That means it can be bent, twisted, you can even tie it in a knot and it won't break. And just to be safe, it's wrapped in a tough protective outer layer, kind of like a jacket.
And why is being so flexible a big deal? Well, think about it. These cables have to travel for thousands and thousands of miles along the bottom of the ocean. Then they have to snake through all the pipes under our cities. And finally, they have to bend around all the corners to get into our homes and schools. So yeah, that idea of glass being fragile, it just doesn't apply here. Okay, so we've gone through some pretty amazing facts. Now, let's switch gears. It's time to get into full-on exam prep mode and make sure all this information sticks. Let's do a quick recap.
All right, you're going to want to pay close attention right now. These are the 3 main ideas that are almost guaranteed to show up on a test. So let's make sure you've got them down cold.
Okay, number 1, speed. Remember, it uses light, not electricity. That's why it's so fast. Number 2, size. It's thinner than your hair, but it carries huge amounts of data, terabytes worth. And number 3, material. It's made from a special, flexible glass or plastic that can bend without breaking. So that's speed, size, and material. You got it? And now, a huge, common mistake alert. Seriously, please do not fall into this trap. So many people mix up fiber with the old copper wires. Just remember this. The speed of optical fiber comes from light. I'm going to say it again because it's that important. It comes from light.
Okay, need a super simple way to remember all this for your exam? I got a memory trick for you. Just remember these 3 words: small, fast, and flexible. That's it. That perfectly sums up the 3 main things you need to know about optical fiber: small, fast, and flexible.
So there you have it. That's the story of how this tiny, fast, and flexible technology is basically powering our entire world. And it kind of leaves us with this really interesting question, right? Now that we have cables that can send information at pretty much the speed of light, what's next? What could possibly be faster than that?
Hey everyone, ever just stop and think about the invisible magic that connects, well, everything? Your phone, your laptop, our entire lives? Today we're going to pull back the curtain on something called unguided media, which is basically the secret behind all our amazing wireless stuff.
I mean, seriously, just think about it for a second. How are you watching this right now on your phone without it being plugged into the wall for internet? Or how do your headphones just play music with no wires attached? What's actually going on there?
Well, the fancy technical answer is a term called unguided media. Now, I know. It sounds a little complicated, but trust me, it's not. All it really means is wireless communication. That's it. It's just how we send information from one place to another without needing any physical cables.
And at its heart, it's actually super simple. Look at this. You've got a sender, think of that as your Wi-Fi router at home, and a receiver, which is, your laptop or your phone. The sender just shoots signals out through the air, and the receiver catches them. That's the whole magic trick. No cables needed. It's all just happening invisibly around us.
So why should you care about this? I mean, besides the fact that we use it every single second of the day, well, for your exams, this stuff is huge. It's not just some cool tech, it is literally the backbone of how we all communicate in the modern world. Let's look at the 3 big reasons we need it every day. First, for connecting to the internet. Yep, that's your Wi-Fi. Second, for using mobile services, making calls, sending texts, all that stuff. And third, for sharing files easily. When you send a photo to a friend. It pretty much runs our entire digital lives.
All right, pay close attention here because this next part is super, super important. Seriously, this is prime exam material. We're going to break down the 4 main types of wireless tech you absolutely have to know.
Okay, first up, let's talk about the tech that's in your personal space. We've got Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, and the difference is really simple. Wi-Fi is all about getting you onto the internet. Bluetooth? That's for connecting your devices to each other over very short distances. This image shows it perfectly, right? The laptop uses Wi-Fi to talk to the router, which then gets it online. But the phone connects directly to the headphones using Bluetooth. And hey, here's a great little memory trick for your exam. Wi-Fi connects to the net, Bluetooth connects devices. Write that down, it's golden.
Okay, now let's zoom out to the wider world. Here we have RFID and satellite.
And the big word to remember for these two is scale. They are complete opposites. RFID is for super close range stuff, like tapping your ID card. And satellite, well, that's for communicating across the entire planet.
And this visual just makes it so obvious. On one side, you have an ID card tapping a reader. We're talking centimeters here. Tiny. On the other, you've got a massive satellite orbiting high above the Earth, beaming signals over thousands of miles. It's a crazy difference, isn't it? From your school ID to global television.
Okay, we're almost at the finish line. There's just one more quick but really important thing we need to cover: the rules. And yeah, this can definitely pop up as a short question on your exam, so listen up.
So here's the deal. You can't just set up any powerful wireless signal you want. It's not a free-for-all. In most places, like Nepal shown here, you need permission from the government. And that's for two big reasons. One, to make sure signals don't mess with each other. And two, for security. It just keeps everything orderly and safe for everyone.
All right, that was a lot, I know. So let's pull everything together. This right here is your official exam cheat sheet. Think of this as the ultimate summary of everything you need to remember.
Okay, let's run through it. Point 1. Unguided is just a fancy word for wireless. Easy. Point 2. It all works by sending signals through the air, no cables. Point 3. We use it for everything: internet, mobile services, you name it. Point 4. There are rules. Governments regulate these signals for safety. And finally, the big one for your exam, the 4 types: Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, RFID, and satellite. Got it?
So that brings us to one last thought. Now that you know the basics, I've got a question for you. Which one of these 4, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, RFID, or satellite, do you think is going to change our world the most in the next 10 years? It's a fascinating thing to think about. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer.
Okay, think about what you're doing right now. You're scrolling through videos, maybe playing a game on your phone, or doing homework on your laptop. But you're not plugged into a wall with some clunky cable, are you? So how on earth does that actually work? Yep, that's the big question we're diving into. We're going to pull back the curtain on the invisible science that connects us all to the internet. It might seem like magic, but I promise, by the end of this, you'll see exactly how it all happens. So let's start with the absolute basics. What exactly is this thing we call Wi-Fi? All right, get your notes out because this is a huge one for your exams. Wi-Fi actually stands for wireless fidelity. Seriously, they love asking this, so it's a really good one to remember. Wireless fidelity. Got it? This image sums it up perfectly. Before Wi-Fi, getting online meant dealing with a total nightmare of tangled cables. The whole point of Wi-Fi is to replace all of that junk with invisible radio signals. It's just a much cleaner and way simpler way to send and receive all our data. Okay, so if our data is flying through the air on these invisible signals, how does it know where to go? Well, the best way to picture it is to think of it like an invisible highway system. And the most important part of this whole highway is your Wi-Fi router. You can think of it as the main bridge or the central station. It's the one thing that connects your phone, your laptop, and your TV to the huge world of the internet. So how does the data actually move on this highway? Well, it has 2 main lanes, or what we call frequency bands. And you've definitely seen these before when you connect to a network. You've got the 2.4 gigahertz band and the 5 gigahertz band. Now, this is a super important difference to get. The 2.4 gigahertz band is like a long country road. It goes really far and can cover your whole house, but it's slower and can get pretty crowded with traffic. The 5 gigahertz band, on the other hand, is like a wide open city expressway. It's incredibly fast and way less crowded, but its biggest downside is it has a much shorter range. So if you want that top speed, you've got to be closer to the router. Okay, so we've got our highway, but how do we make it even better? Well, modern Wi-Fi has some really clever tricks to make our connection faster and a whole lot more reliable. The first trick is something called channel bonding, and this analogy is just perfect. Imagine your data is water flowing through pipes. Channel bonding takes 2 small pipes and merges them into one giant one. And what happens when you have a bigger pipe? A lot more water, or in our case, data, can flow through at once. That means a way faster connection for you. And the second trick is beamforming. This is so cool. A normal Wi-Fi router is kind of like a light bulb. It just sends the signal out everywhere, which wastes a ton of energy. But beamforming is like a smart flashlight. It actually finds out where your device is and aims the Wi-Fi signal in a direct beam right at it. The result is a stronger, more focused, and much more stable connection. Now let's take all this tech talk and see how it actually comes together in the places you go every single day. When it comes down to it, this is why Wi-Fi is so important. Its whole purpose is to connect lots and lots of different devices all at the same time. I mean, think about your home. You might be streaming a movie, someone else is in an online class, and your sibling is gaming with their friends. Wi-Fi is the hero that handles all that traffic at once. It's the technology that keeps our modern world connected, from our bedrooms to our school libraries. All right, let's switch into full-on revision mode. If you remember nothing else from this, please make sure you lock in these key points for your exam. Okay, let's run through this rapid fire. Number 1, Wi-Fi stands for wireless fidelity. 2, it uses radio signals, not cables. 3, the two bands are 2.4 GHz for long range and 5 GHz for high speed. 4, channel bonding makes things faster by combining channels. And 5, beamforming focuses that signal right at your device. Got it? Awesome. Now, to help you remember the difference between those two frequency bands, I've got a super simple memory trick for you. Just think of it like a road system. Here's how it works. The 2.4 GHz band is the country road. It's kind of long and slow, but it'll reach everywhere. The 5 GHz band is the city expressway. It's super fast, but it's a shorter trip. This little trick should make it way easier to remember. And let's end with this little puzzle. Now that you know how the bands work, what the router does, and how signals travel, think about it. Why does your internet connection seem to slow down to a crawl when everyone in your family is home and using their devices at the same time? The answer is in everything we just talked about. Give it some thought.
Have you ever wondered about that invisible magic connecting your headphones to your phone? Or, how your smartwatch talks to your phone without any wires at all? Well, that magic has a name. It's Bluetooth. And today we're going to break it all down and give you the key points you need to absolutely ace your exams. All right, let's just dive right in. To really get why Bluetooth is so cool, we kind of have to go back in time to a world that was run by, you guessed it, tangled wires. I mean, come on, does this look familiar? We all have that one drawer, right? The one that's basically a spaghetti monster of old cables you're just too afraid to throw away. This right here was the big problem. You had a different cable for your headphones, another one for your printer, a different one for your keyboard. It was just a total mess. What we really needed was a simple, universal way to connect all our gadgets without drowning in clutter. And here it is, the solution, Bluetooth. Now, this is a key definition you've got to remember. Bluetooth is a wireless technology that lets devices share data over short distances. Simple as that. It's the hero that finally cuts the cords. Okay, so if there are no actual wires, how in the world does your music get from your phone all the way to your speaker? Well, the secret ingredient is something that's all around us, all the time, but it's completely invisible. It all works because of radio waves. The best way to think about them is as invisible messengers. They're a type of energy that can travel right through the air, carrying information, like a song, a picture, you name it, from one spot to another. So here's what's happening. Your phone is the source. It takes your music and converts it into a radio signal. Then it shoots that signal out through the air, and your speaker, which is the receiver, catches it and turns it back into the music you can actually hear. It's like a secret, wireless conversation happening all around us.
But wait a second, Wi-Fi uses radio waves. Your phone's mobile signal uses radio waves too. So how does everything not just turn into one big, chaotic mess of signals? Let's find out.
And that's a really important question, right? With all these different signals flying around, how does the Bluetooth connection for your headphones stay so perfectly clear even when you're downloading a huge file over Wi-Fi? Well, the answer is incredibly clever.
The secret is a technique called frequency hopping spread spectrum, or FHSS. Okay, I know that sounds super complicated, but the idea behind it is actually really simple. Think of it as a super smart way of dodging traffic to keep the road clear and the connection reliable.
And this is basically what it looks like in action. See, the Bluetooth signal doesn't just stay on one single channel. It hops between 79 different frequencies. And get this, it does it up to 1,600 times every single second. So if one frequency is busy or has some static, no problem. It just hops to a clear one. This constant hopping is what makes your connection so strong and reliable.
Here is the perfect way to remember this for your exam. Imagine you're in a car, and your favorite radio station starts getting all fuzzy and full of static. What do? You change the station, right? Well, Bluetooth does the exact same thing, just automatically and incredibly fast to always find the clearest signal.
So, we know Bluetooth is wireless, and we know it's super reliable. But there is one more key feature that turned it into a technology that's in billions and billions of devices all over the world.
It is incredibly efficient. I mean, Bluetooth was designed from the ground up to use very, very little power. It just sips battery life instead of chugging it down.
And why is that such a big deal? Well, this was totally on purpose. By focusing on short-range communication, the engineers made a trade-off. They gave up long distance for extreme power efficiency. And that is the exact reason we can have tiny, battery-powered gadgets like wireless earbuds or smartwatches that stay connected all day long. This low-power use is what allowed this huge Bluetooth ecosystem to just explode. It's not just in our phones, it's in our speakers, our headphones, our keyboards, even our video game controllers. It's become the invisible thread that ties our digital lives together.
Just stop and think about it for a second. Besides your phone and your headphones, what other Bluetooth devices are part of your daily routine? Your car, maybe? A smart light bulb? It is literally everywhere.
Okay, let's wrap this all up and get you ready for any exam questions that might come your way. This is the part you're probably going to want to screenshot for your revision notes.
Everything you need to know about Bluetooth really boils down to these 3 key ideas. Just remember these 3 words: wireless, reliable, and efficient.
So to really lock this in for any exam questions, just remember the big 3. Number 1, it's wireless, because it uses radio waves to get rid of cables. Number 2, it's reliable, because that smart frequency hopping, FHSS, dodges any interference. And number 3, it's efficient, because its low power use is the secret sauce for all those small gadgets we love. So I'll leave you with this final thought, a classic exam-style question. If you were asked to explain why Bluetooth is so perfect for devices like smartwatches or fitness trackers, you've got the perfect answer now. You talk about how being wireless is a must, of course, but the real key, the game changer, is its amazing power efficiency. That's what allows these tiny devices to run on tiny batteries, and that, my friends, is how you ace the topic of Bluetooth.
You ever wonder how tapping your school ID card or a payment card just works? I mean, there's no swipe, no PIN code, you just tap it and bam, you're in. So what's the magic behind that? Well, it's not actually magic. It's a really cool technology called RFID. And today, we're going to break down exactly what it is, how it works, and yeah, why it's super important for your everyday life and, you guessed it, your exams. All right, let's get into it. So here's what we've got on tap. First, we'll get into what RFID actually is. Then we'll see how it all works. After that, we'll cover a really important bit, the difference between active and passive tags. We'll also spot RFID out in the wild, in your daily life. And then we'll wrap it all up with a quick revision guide to get you prepped for any tests. Okay, so first things first, what in the world is RFID? You know, the best way to get a handle on it is to just break down the name. RFID stands for Radio Frequency Identification. Let's look at that. The R is for radio, F is for frequency, which is really just another way of talking about radio waves. And then ID is for, well, identification. So when you put it all together, RFID is basically a wireless tech that uses radio waves to send information and identify stuff. Pretty simple, right? Okay, so it uses radio waves. Got it. But how does that actually work? Well, you can think of it like a little conversation happening between 2 main characters. Yeah, think of it just like a conversation. On one side, you've got the RFID reader. This guy is the one asking the questions, sending out radio waves to, scan for info. And on the other side, you've got the RFID tag. Now, this is attached to something like a book in the library or your school ID card. The tag holds all the data, and it responds when the reader scans it. So, to make it super simple, the tag is the data carrier. It's just a tiny little chip with an antenna that stores the information. The reader, on the other hand, is the device sending out the radio signal. But here's the really clever part. That signal from the reader, it actually gives the tag just enough power to wake up and send its information back. It's like the reader asks and the tag answers. A super quick wireless handshake. All right, now not all tags are created equal. And this next part, this is a really key detail you're going to want to remember for any test. We need to talk about the difference between active and passive tags. The difference between them is actually super straightforward. So passive tags, they have no battery, none at all. They get all their power from the reader's signal, but only when it gets really close. That's exactly why you have to tap your card right up against the reader. Now, active tags are the opposite. They have their own battery, and because they're self-powered, they can send out their signal over a much, much longer range. Okay, now that we've got the basics down, Let's go on a little hunt and see where you can find this tech in your daily life. I promise, once you know what you're looking for, you're going to start seeing it everywhere. There are 4 big areas where you'll bump into RFID all the time: tracking items, controlling who gets in and out of places, making payments, and for simple identification. Let's do a quick flyby of each one. First up is tracking. Think about huge stores and warehouses. They stick these little RFID tags on all their products. Why? Because it lets them count their entire stock almost instantly, without needing to scan every single barcode one by one. I mean, we're talking about a job that used to take days, now takes maybe just a few hours. That's just incredibly efficient. Next up, access control. And yeah, this is your school ID card, 100%. The card has the RFID tag, and that little box on the door is the reader. When you bring them close, the reader identifies your card, and just like that, the door unlocks. And payments, of course. You know that little tap to pay symbol on your bank card? Yep, that's RFID technology in action, making buying your lunch super fast and super easy. And finally, identification. Think about your bus pass or those electronic toll tags some cars have. They're using RFID to quickly identify your pass and deduct the fare, all without you even having to stop. It's all about speed. Whew, okay. We've covered a lot of ground, so now let's boil all of this down to the most important stuff, the key things you'll absolutely need to know for your exams. So a really common exam question might be something like, list the benefits of using RFID technology. So let's answer that. What makes this stuff so useful?
Here are your 3 golden answer points. 1, it's fast. You don't need to have a direct line of sight like you do with a barcode. 2, it's reliable because the tags are pretty tough. And 3, it allows for super efficient data collection. Remember, scanning tons of items all at once. So just lock these 3 words in your brain: fast, reliable, and efficient.
All right, time for the final rapid-fire revision. These are the absolute must-knows. Number 1, RFID uses radio waves to send data. Number 2, it has 2 parts, a reader and a tag. 3, passive tags have no battery, super important. 4, active tags have a battery, which gives them a longer range. And finally, number 5, it's used for all that stuff we talked about: tracking, access, payments, and ID. Got it? And before we go, here's a simple little memory trick so you never, ever mix up the 2 types of tags. Just remember this: active tags are always on because they have an active battery. Simple, right? So the next time you tap a card, you'll know exactly what's going on, that little invisible conversation that's happening right in front of you. Kind of makes you wonder, huh? What other invisible tech is hiding in plain sight all around us?
Ever wonder how a live cricket match happening, halfway across the world just pops up on your TV screen, like instantly? Or how about your phone? How does it know your exact location right down to the street you're standing on? I mean, it seems like magic, right? But it's not. It's actually some seriously cool science.
So let's dive right in. In this explainer, we're going to uncover the powerful technology that makes all of that happen, and it's called satellite communication. We'll break down what it is, how it works, and yeah, most importantly for you, why this is a huge topic for your exams and, well, for your everyday life too. Okay, so first things first, connecting your world. What is satellite communication, really? Let's break down the basic idea.
This image really nails the core idea. Just look at it. Think of that satellite circling the Earth as this super high-tech bridge up in space. And what's zipping across that bridge? Information. We're talking everything from the texts you send, your photos, even live videos. It's all beaming from one side of the planet to the other in, like, the blink of an eye.
All right, get your pens ready, because this is the big one, the definition you'll definitely want for your exams. So, satellite communication is the method of sending information wirelessly across the world using artificial satellites placed in outer space. Now let's lock in those key parts. First, artificial satellites. That just means they're man-made, right? We built them. And second, outer space. That's where they live, way, way up above our planet.
And get this technology is not new at all. I mean, we've been using satellites to connect the entire world since 1965. Seriously, think about that. That's for decades we've been building and improving this amazing global network. Wow.
Okay, so we know what it is, but the big question is, how does it all work? Like, how does a message actually get from here to there using a satellite? Let's check out this mirror in the sky. This diagram shows the whole journey perfectly. So,
It starts on the ground with a sender. Let's say it's the TV station broadcasting that cricket match. They zap a signal up to the satellite. Now, the satellite acts like this powerful microwave relay station way up in the sky. It catches the signal, boosts it to make it stronger, and then shoots it right back down to a receiver somewhere else on Earth. Like the little dish on your roof.
The absolute best way to remember this is with this really simple idea. Think of it as a mirror in the sky. That's all it's doing. It isn't making the information, it's just reflecting it, bouncing it from one spot to another. Simple, right? So if we boil it all down, it's just 2 super simple steps. These are perfect to remember. Step 1, the satellite receives signals from one place. And step 2, the satellite sends them to another. That's its whole job, receive and send. That's it.
And the result of this simple little 2-step process, it's absolutely huge. It means we can transfer information to literally any part of the world. Doesn't matter how far away or remote it is. And it's happening almost at the speed of light. How cool is that?
Okay, so that's the science behind it, but why should you care? Why does this matter in your daily life? Well, you're about to see. You're probably using this technology way more than you even realize.
Just take a look at this. This shows just how central satellite communication is to, well, everything. See that dish in the middle? It's like the main hub, connecting to all these services that, let's be honest, we totally take for granted every single day. So, let's see what they are.
All right, let's run through them. First up, TV broadcasting. For watching live sports and news from all over the world. Then we've got internet services, which is a huge deal for bringing the internet to remote places where you just can't run cables. What's next? GPS navigation. That little blue dot on your phone's map? Yep, that's satellites talking to your phone. Then there's weather forecasting. Those incredible pictures of clouds and storms from space, that's how we get them. And last but not least, it's super important for military communication, to keep everyone connected, no matter where they are on the planet.
All right, time to switch gears. Let's get focused for your exam quick review. We've gone over a ton of stuff, so now let's pull it all together into a really quick, easy-to-remember summary.
And here it is, your perfect revision tool. No, seriously, this slide is gold. It's got every single key point we've talked about, all in one spot. It's perfect for that last-minute look before a test. Okay, let's walk through it together, point by point.
Okay, let's lock these in. These are your key revision points. First, what is it? It's that wireless global method using artificial satellites. Simple. Where does it happen? Up in outer space. Since when? Don't forget that year, 1965. What's the mechanism? Super simple. It's a microwave relay. Just think, receive, then send. And finally, the key uses: TV, internet, GPS, weather, and the military. Make sure you've got these down, for sure. And finally, to make sure those key uses really stick in your brain, I've got a little memory trick for you. It might sound a bit random, but trust me, it works. Just remember these letters, TIMGW. So what's that for? T for TV, I for internet, M for military, G for GPS, and W for weather. Let's say it one more time. TIMGW. It's just a really quick way to remember all the major uses. So next time you're watching that live match or you pull up a map on your phone, you'll know exactly what's going on with that amazing mirror in the sky.
All right, let's get into it. When you send a message to a friend or stream a video, it just happens, right? It feels like magic. But have you ever stopped to think about how that data actually gets from point A to point B? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain and look at the 2 main highways your data travels on. No, seriously, think about it for a second. How does it work? It's not magic. It's all about technology. And understanding this stuff is super important, especially when it comes to your exams. So let's figure this out together. Okay, so in any kind of communication, there's always a sender, a receiver, and, the path that connects them. In tech, we call that path the medium. It's basically the road the data travels on. And this road really only comes in 2 main flavors: guided, which means it's using a physical wire, and unguided, which is wireless. So first up, let's talk about that physical road, the one you can actually see and touch. This is called guided media, and I bet you it's all over your house and your school right now. The clue is right there in the name. Guided media means the signal is literally guided along a set path. It's stuck inside a wire or a cable. A good way to think about it is like water flowing through a pipe. It can only go where the pipe goes. And this is the perfect analogy for it. With guided media, the data has one fixed, predictable path. It can only go where the cable leads it, exactly like a train on a railway track. There are no detours, and that, as we'll see, gives it some pretty big advantages. And one of the biggest advantages is how reliable it is. Because that signal is safely tucked away inside a physical cable, it really doesn't care what's happening outside. Is it raining? Is it windy? Doesn't matter. The connection stays stable and strong. It's totally weatherproof. So where would you actually use this? Well, it's absolutely perfect for connecting a bunch of devices in a small area. Think about the computer lab at your school, or all the gadgets connected to the router in your living room. That whole setup is called a LAN, a local area network, and it's the textbook case for using guided media. Okay, we've talked about the train on the track, but what happens when there are no tracks at all? Let's dive into the second path our data can take, unguided media. And again, the name says it all. Unguided media is, well, unguided. The signals aren't trapped inside a cable. Instead, they travel right through the air as invisible waves. This is the amazing technology behind pretty much everything we call wireless. And this image just shows the difference so clearly. Unlike our train, there's no fixed path here at all. The signal just radiates outwards in all directions, kind of like the ripples you see when you throw a stone in a pond. It broadcasts everywhere, which is fantastic for being able to move around, but it does come with a catch. And here's the catch. It's vulnerable. Because that signal is just flying through the open air, other things can mess with it. Have you ever noticed your Wi-Fi getting a little weird during a thunderstorm? Yep, that's because bad weather can actually interfere with the signal and make it weaker or even drop out completely. But the massive benefit of going wireless is the range. It's absolutely perfect for connecting devices that are really far apart. We're talking about connecting entire cities or even different continents using satellites. This is what we call a WAN, or a wide area network, and it's where unguided media is the undisputed champion. Okay, let's get serious for a minute. This next part is almost guaranteed to pop up on your exam. It's time to put guided and unguided media side by side and really lock in the key differences. So pay close attention here. So let's start with the most obvious stuff you see here. The number one difference is the medium itself. Are we talking about physical wires or are we talking about open air? And that one difference changes everything about the path. One is a fixed track and the other is a free-for-all broadcast. It's as simple as that. Next, let's talk performance. Since those guided signals are tucked away in a cable, they're weatherproof and super reliable. But unguided signals are out in the open, which makes them sensitive to the weather. And this directly tells us where to use them, right? That reliability makes guided perfect for a local LAN, while the freedom and range of unguided makes it the only choice for a long-distance WAN. So what does this stuff actually look like in the real world? Well, guided media includes things like that Ethernet cable you plug into a computer for super fast internet, the thick coaxial cable that connects to your TV, and the amazing optical fiber that brings high-speed internet to whole neighborhoods. And examples of unguided media? Oh, they are everywhere. You use this stuff all day, every day. We're talking about the Wi-Fi from your router, the Bluetooth connecting your headphones, the satellites that make GPS work, and even the invisible infrared beam from your TV remote. Whew, okay, that was a lot of information, and I know, but we can boil it all down to the absolute essentials. So let's do a super quick recap to make sure you've got this locked in for your revision. Here's the bottom line. If you have to choose, when do you use each one? It's actually pretty simple. You choose guided when you need rock-solid reliability for local connections. And you choose unguided when you absolutely need the freedom of mobility and you have to cover a long distance. And these right here are your golden keywords. I'd pause and write these down if I were you. When you think guided, your brain should just fire off wires, fixed path, reliable, and LAN. And when you think unguided, it should be air, no fixed path, weather sensitive, and WAN. If you can master these connections, you are going to be in fantastic shape for your exam. And just to make absolutely sure you never ever mix these two up, here's a super easy memory trick. Just remember, guided is grounded in a physical cable, and unguided is untethered, floating free in the air. And there you have it. Now you know all about the two roads our data travels on.